just come out of a meeting with Minister Woods, and we are pleased to say that he is in support of interregional passenger rail. However, it is not an urgent priority for him at this time. So we're disappointed about that part. We definitely applaud the work that he's doing to decarbonise transport within inner cities, but we hope that he will be both inspired and equipped by others in the government to do a lot more, including interregional transport concerns and decarbonising that area.
It's quite concerning that the Climate Commission is basing the setting of priorities, which is not putting a focus on passenger rail. It's his interpretation of the Climate Commission's position. So we've got to ask ourselves, is the Climate Commission properly including in its calculations of the benefits of decarbonising rail and bringing in passenger rail? Are they thinking into the future and perhaps relying too much on things like hydrogen fuel trucks and biofuels in the future, where we know that they ain't going to happen? And so the rail gains could take a while to come about, but they will be there. But I'm not sure that the Climate Commission are looking at that at the moment.
There also seems to be a blind spot around how the carbon and transport issue intersects with the cost of living crisis, and this should really be receiving attention both from transport and from other areas, because it really addresses two massive problems at the same time. But our government is very kind of segmented in that way, so we would have liked to see more acknowledgement of just how this would affect the lives of spread out New Zealanders and those who can't afford cars and for whom flying is not an option either. Yep.
We did get a good reception, and he has got quite a list of changes and upgrades that they are doing to the railways. It's just unfortunately not aimed at the passenger rail immediately. They're very proud of Tahuia, but he thinks they're only just starting to break even now with 250 passengers a week. Is it a week or a day? Don't know.
What were the other main quotes that you caught that he said? What else can you tell us about what he actually said?
He talked a lot about how much flack he receives for pushing cycleways and pedestrian prioritisation in urban centres, and that he already is doing a brave job of standing up to all of that, which is true. I do think his heart's in the right place, but his sense of urgency in this area needs to be increased. What else did he say? Quotable moments.
I think we're just about covered it.
Okay. All right, so no particular timeline or schedule?
No, just it's expensive and it's hard and we want to do it, but it's not happening urgently.
So we have to keep pushing it and keep it in front of them so that it doesn't get left behind again.
I think that's the clear task that was laid out for us.
Exactly right.
Did he mention at all alternatives to flying, the fact that up to 20,000 people per day fly in and out of Wellington, and that's totally unsustainable on long term, and rail is definitely a better answer to that between Wellington and Auckland.
He didn't mention flying, but Rosemary brought up that France has recently banned any domestic flights that can be covered in a 2.5 hour or less train journey. She didn't super respond to that. No.
Yeah, that's really important.
One very, very obvious and simple thing is the integration of long-distance traffic rail with urban transport, urban rail. Why we need to have urban rail being considered light rail when we could easily take the same gauge tracks and push them through the heart of the city out of the Tahuia Airport. That would be a very straightforward and very simple thing. Would be essentially restoring the tram system that served Wellington for so many decades.
So did he talk about the relative cost of highways compared to upgrading the train system?
Rosemary did.
Good. Yes. Excellent.
Yeah, and we also brought forward the better resilience of rail systems compared to crumbling roads and the possibility of hybrid freight and passenger rail as a much more sustainable and eventually economic way to
You mentioned a couple of times that you know, the rail had been allowed to degenerate over many years, and the passenger side of things in particular, and that they were working on doing tunnels and bridges and stuff like that. A lot of money is being spent on the rail system.
So they are in the process of reconstructing what was just allowed to decompose.
That was part of its support.
Okay.
What about the railway workshops? In the past we used to construct our own carriages, and by revitalising the railway workshop they could provide skills for other industries as well. But also means that we'd be doing something local, avoiding having to pay foreign exchange for imports.
It would be amazing, but no, that was not the case.
Well, should we just finish with a comment on how you feel after going through that process of chatting and getting that response?
It was worth it. I don't feel I needed a bit of a recharge time, and then get out there and get our message going again. That's really how I feel about it. It certainly wasn't in any way meeting the demands that we made when we set out on this mission.
I think I feel like somewhat heartened that Michael Wood is a human person who does want to do the right thing in the midst of the worst crisis our planet has faced, but I feel very frustrated at the system that constrains any good intention that he has to go above and beyond, and I hope that could change, and I think we need to continue adding pressure so that it does.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Well done.
It feels odd to hold one of these and not feel really stressed.